Hello there. This evening I'd like to look at a Chablis. This is a wine that I purchased at a new wine shop that's just opened today in Auckland. That's Normanby Fine Wines, and this is a wine that they're exclusively importing. So the wine is a Chablis. It's from a producer, Jean Dauvissat Pere. And what I've heard about Jean Dauvissat is that this is a domain that's combining both tradition. Evidently Jean is a 7th generation vigneron from the Chablis region, with innovation, some new approaches to Chablis. But yet some of these new approaches are actually quite traditional. So this is a winery that is using sustainable viticultural practices and increasingly moving towards organics. They are fermenting with the natural yeasts. They're giving the wine long aging, small portion in oak with the lees. So it's very particular winemaking, I suppose, is a way of looking at it. And I thought I'd look at this because tasting it last night, I thought it was a really classic and a lovely example of an AOC Chablis. So it's from the 2022 vintage. In 2022 you have a relatively mild winter in the Chablis region, but then there was some spring frosts, and then with a huge contrast later in the spring, in mid-May, you got a period of heat that speeded up the flowering, ensured that went through quite well, and from then through to harvest, and harvest starts early in September. The remark on the bottle suggests the 4th, so first week of September anyway. So following that hot, dry period, the fruit is harvested in good condition. Now as a whole, the winery owns somewhere in the region of 22 hectares of vineyards, both in Petit Chablis and in Chablis. Of those, this wine comes off 17.5 hectares worth of vines in the Chablis region itself. And this is a blend of wine from different villages. Evidently they have 40 different parcels throughout Chablis. And what they're doing is they're vinifying each parcel separately, and then after 12 months they'll combine them, they'll make their blends. So I guess up until that stage there's the possibility that any of those individual plots or villages might be bottled as a separate cuvee. And one of the things I think is quite innovative is actually the fact that there's all this information is for us to see on the label. We see the villages named La Chapelle, Peltigny, Milly, Beine. We're given the number of bottles that are produced, bottles and magnums. We're given the age of the vines, 35 years. We're told both the harvest, which here says 4th to the 13th of September. We're told the bottling dates. We're told the free sulfur dioxide level at bottling, 35 parts per million. The total sulfur dioxide, 68 parts per million. It's introducing a level of transparency which is really quite impressive. I noticed that this has certification on it that it's grown organically as well. So the fruit was picked entirely by hand. It was fermented in temperature-controlled stainless steel tanks. Temperatures were kept down to 20 degrees, so relatively low. Following malolactic conversion, the wine aged with fine lees left in it for a long period. The majority of the wine aged in the stainless steel tanks, but some of it went into 600-litre barrels known as demi-muid. And as I say, the individual plots were kept separate till the wine was a year old. Then the blending decisions were made, they were combined, they continued aging for another 6 months. Processing is relatively minimal. They do say occasionally they'll fine, occasionally they may filter if they have to for the wine's stability, but not necessarily. And then also they make the point that the wine is not cold stabilized. So I guess that's pointing out that there could be some formation of tartrate crystals in the bottle by the time you reach it, particularly if you're going to age the wine for a period of time. So what I'm looking for here is a beautiful, fresh expression of Chardonnay with very little oak influence from this cooler, more northern region of Burgundy. So let's see what we make of it, shall we? First of all, there's quite a nice depth of colour actually. There's a medium yellow with perhaps the odd greenish hint in there. Swirling it, I'm looking at it, it's labelled as 13% alcohol. And it seems to be clinging to the glass quite well, but only very slowly forming tears. Just starting to now, there we go. So let's see what we make of the aromas, shall we? The aromas start with a vivid minerality. There's a really lovely crisp green apple note, really sort of Granny Smith apple, that sort of sharpness coming through, almost crab apple-like note. And then behind that there's a creaminess. quite a delicate creaminess, and all these elements are beautifully integrated. So the long period of aging with the lees left in the barrel has allowed that. So let's have a taste. Given the mineral crispness that seemed to come across from the nose, that actually has got a lovely richness and roundness. Again, I assume a lot of that is coming from the long period of lees aging that this undergoes. But there's a beautiful fruit intensity. There really is a nice depth of that appley fruit, and it's not just the sharpness of apple skin. There's actually a richness that sort of makes me think of apple flesh, almost heading towards a honey note. And yet, supporting all that, there is a nice fresh mineral crispness. I suppose there's a citric cut on the finish there that's leaving it very clean, and the flavours are lasting quite well. There's a very gentle saline hint at the bottom. It's not dominating, but it's just adding an extra dimension to the wine. So yes, to my mind, this is a lovely example of a modern Chablis. It's got all the elements I'm looking for. It's got crispness, it's been given extra roundness by the lees aging, but I think what really stands out is that extra intensity you're getting from the fruit, which is quite unusual. I mean, they mention the yields here on the label as being 60 hectolitres per hectare, which seems relatively high, but still they've managed to get this concentration into the wine, so that's really quite impressive. So thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, do please press the like button. I'll leave a link in the notes below so you can find out where the wine is available in your market and what its pricing is. If you have any comments, please feel free to pop those in the comments box below. I'd love to hear what you think about the wines I'm looking at, the tastings I'm doing, or anything else that relates to that. If you have any friends you think might like to know about Jean Dauvissat's Chablis, do please feel free to pass it on to them. I would really appreciate your endorsement in that way. And if you'd like to watch more of these videos, which I hope you do please subscribe to my channel. And that way also you can set yourself an alert and you can be notified every time I publish a new tasting. So thank you again for watching, and I do hope you'll manage to make some time and come and join me for another video tasting in the very near future. But until then, goodbye for now.